Hi everyone, I'm going to show you how to make my chicken and mushroom pho from Life Changing Food Cookbook. Okay, so I'm starting with a whole chicken. In the cookbook it does say to use chicken thighs, but definitely you can use a whole chicken because then you can use the rest of the chicken for something else and you're making the meat stock as you cook the chicken. So we've got a whole chicken and I'm using a 6-litre pot. This is the Solid Techniques noni stainless steel pot, which I absolutely love. I'm going to use this and cover that with water, filtered water. Get yourself a good quality sea salt, or you can use the river salt, the Australian river salt. You can use a good quality pepper, so that's the one I use. We sell that one in our store. So this is the only Australian pepper there is, and it's grown near me. And it's also pesticide free and it's really, really flavoursome. So make sure you've got some pepper in there and maybe 2 teaspoons of salt, and then cover that with filtered water, and then we're going to let that simmer for about 2 hours. Okay? So we're going to end up with more chicken and meat stock than we need for this recipe, but that's okay because we can freeze it for another recipe. I'm not going to waste anything. Okay. That goes onto the stove. So I'm going to get this cooking on a medium-sized burner. Turn it up at first, but once it starts to simmer, then you can turn it down. Okay, the stock's just about ready, so I'm going to go ahead and dry roast the dry spices. So we've got cinnamon quills, star anise, some cloves, whole cloves, and some coriander seeds. I'm actually doubling the amount of dried spices because I want to double the amount of pho since I've got so much stock. Put the pan over medium heat and just dry roast the spices for about 2 or 3 minutes, just until aromatic. And you'll start to smell them, and then you can turn it off just to bring out the flavour. Just make sure you use a really heavy pan for dry roasting because you don't want to warp the bottom of your stainless steel frying pan or pot. So I use cast iron. I find that works best for dry roasting because you're getting really high heat there. You can see that smoke. Okay, so that's done. Okay, the meat stock looks like it's done. The chicken looks cooked. Now the reason why, I'm just going to check this. Yep, that's definitely done because the chicken's falling apart. So I can turn that off now. So the reason that I use meat stock instead of bone broth is firstly because the flavour is so good with meat stock because you're getting the flavour from the meat and the fat and it's not just bare bones that you're simmering, but also because it's really healing for the gut. So a meat stock is chock-a-block full of the amino acids proline and glycine, and they are like the glue that helps to mend a damaged gut wall. The longer you cook your broth, the less of that will be in there. You will have more minerals, but if you're working on gut healing, you want those amino acids in there. And also the longer you cook your broth or stock, you'll have higher histamines in it. So I try to keep the histamine levels low by doing a short cooked stock. Then I get the flavor and I get the gut healing benefits, and so it's awesome. And it's also heaps quicker. Chicken, so we only need, well, the recipe says 1 litre of stock, but I'm going to double it. So we're just going to need 2 litres of stock. But first of all, I'll take this chicken out and we'll cool that down so we can get the meat off the bones. So you can definitely start, if you already have stock or broth, you can definitely start with that and just cook some chicken, some like thigh fillets or breast fillets in the stock as per the recipe, but this is the way I like to do it. Then I get everything at once. Okay, we're also going to put into the pot some sliced up ginger, just fresh ginger, and I know the recipe says peeled, but it really doesn't matter. If it's clean, it's fine. It's going to get taken out at the end of the simmering time. A little more salt and some tamari or coconut aminos to taste. Okay, I'll pop that in. Okay, just remember I'm doing my usual, yeah, that'll do amount. With salt. I won't add too much because I did add salt when I was making this stock. And we've got the ginger. Pop that in as well. Just give that all a good stir. And just let that simmer for like 20 to 30 minutes covered to really infuse those flavours. Okay, so I'll just get the veggies ready while the spices simmer in the broth. So you can see here we have these beautiful enoki mushrooms, and this is what I use instead of noodles in my pho. So this is a really great way to get some grain-free veggie noodles into the stock, into the soup. And just get a mixture of different types of mushrooms, whatever you can find, oyster mushrooms, shiitake, whatever you can find really. And if you can only find the regular Swiss brown or whatever, that's okay too. So slice them into small slivers because you want them to cook really quickly right at the end. I didn't have many of those, did I? And I'm using a lot more of the enoki mushrooms than the recipe calls for, just because I love them. So again, a recipe is only a guideline, and you can totally change it around however you like. So don't be afraid to do that. Now with the bok choy, I cut off the end first, and I'll show you why. If you cut it off at about 1 centimetre, you get this lovely flower shape, and you can float them in the pho, in this soup. And again, you can add more greens than that if you want to. That's totally fine. Okay, now we need to make the zucchini noodles, or zoodles. So this is the fun bit. So I use a Ben Reiner upright, which I bought years ago, probably like 7 or 8 years ago on Amazon, and they are great. So they have different sized blades, and you can figure out what size works best for your veggie noodles. And there we have some zucchini noodles. So again, just make as many as you like. You can also do carrot like this, and that's really lovely in it as well if you want carrot in there. Okay, so the veggies are ready. Now we just need to slice up some chicken to go in, and I'm just going to use the breast section. And it doesn't have to be all neat, just chop it up. And that's fine. Okay, here we have the toppings for the pho. So we've got thinly sliced Spanish onion, thinly sliced spring onion. I've got some fresh coriander and Thai basil that I got out of my garden. I decided to use both because I had both there. So just roughly chop those. Some lime wedges. And usually you use Sriracha sauce, which I don't have, but I have this beautiful fermented chili oil with the chili in the bottom, which is the recipe in Life Changing Food, and that is so good on it. So we've got that, and we're about ready to start putting our pho together, because how good does that look? Can you see the richness of that stock? The colour's darker now. So we'll go ahead and scoop out all the spices and the ginger, and I'm just going to put them here for now. And then we can add the veggies and the chicken, and it'll only be a couple more minutes and it's done. So easy. First of all, some ghee. So I have my delicious homemade ghee here. This adds flavour and also nutrition, because you need the good fats for helping you to be able to use the micronutrients in your vegetables. So this all comes together to make a whole beautiful, nutrient-dense, nourishing meal. Don't forget I'm doubling it, so I'm adding quite a bit of ghee there. Now if you can't have ghee, you can leave that out. Just tastes delicious. You could put some coconut oil in instead if you wanted to. Now at this stage you would add the chicken if you were using raw chicken, and you would cook the chicken, but because we already have cooked chicken, we'll just go straight on to the green veggies. So we've got the bok choy and the zucchini noodles. Yum. I'm getting hungry. The smell is amazing. I wish you could smell it. Well, hopefully you'll make this and then you will smell it. The spices just make it so amazing. Okay, I'm going to turn the heat up now. Get that cooking. You can just go ahead and pop the mushrooms on top. So we've got all these lovely mushrooms. You just have to separate the enoki a little bit because they get stuck together. I slice a centimetre or two off the bottom, and then yeah, you just have to separate them a little. Got our little flowers. It's already looking amazing. Okay, I've added the chicken. Now we'll just pop the lid back on just to let it simmer for a couple of minutes, and then it's done. Don't overcook it. You only want to soften the vegetables. You don't want them soggy. Okay, we're ready. It's been covered just for a couple of minutes. Let's have a look what it looks like. Delicious. Okay, turn that off now. I'm going to put some into the bowl. As you can see, you could have more meat stock in there if you want it soupier. Oops, I turned off the wrong one, obviously. Okay, just get all your favourite bits. Okay, let's go over here and add some toppings. So we've got a little bit of Spanish onion, a little bit of spring onion, some Thai basil, and some fresh coriander. I'm going to add a little bit of chili sauce and chili oil, a good squeeze of lime. Let's just put this, make it look pretty. Oh, it smells so good. And I might actually drizzle a little bit more of the chili oil on. How good does that look? Delicious bowl of goodness.